Hello gardening friends, welcome to Backyard Basics. Today we're going to include the front yard in the Backyard Basics segment. You know, we're seeing a lot of diseases in the lawns. It's rather dramatic as a matter of fact. Brown patches out there, that's somewhat manageable. But take-all, that's one that's really stressing the lawns and actually killing the lawns. So we'll talk a little bit about those two today. The City of Austin recommends that you read these pamphlets, and really anybody in Central Texas and other cities would benefit from this kind of reading too. Maybe your city has some. This helps you diagnose lawn problems. They also give you some good information on lawn care and how to manage weeds. And they do this with organic alternatives in there. You know, these diseases are just are devastating in the lawn. And I think that prevention is really the key. You know, when we're treating them when they're active, we've got to do a lot more work, and we do lose a part of the lawn. So prevention is really important. And this little pamphlet right here helps you to identify the diseases with the pictures in there so you'll know what you're dealing with. Not everybody knows all of the science about these things, so these are very beneficial. You know, sometimes the lawn gets really stressed, and that makes them more susceptible. The droughts in the summertime really can lead into these problems. Another thing is the use of herbicides and real strong chemicals out on the lawn. This distresses them too because the soil becomes unhealthy. Here in Central Texas, the Extension Service and the Grow Green program from the City of Austin is recommending that you do not use atrazine. These weed and feed products are getting into the creeks and streams. Even Barton Springs has atrazine in it. This is a big problem. And so the Extension Service and the city say, don't use the atrazine anymore. You know, we don't normally feed the spring garden until the middle of April. Anything earlier than that will run off. The grass can't take it, even with organic fertilizers that are slow release. So keep those things in mind. But as we get underway in the spring or in the fall, one of the things we want to do is apply some compost out there. Compost brings life to the soil. It really makes it richer. It makes the soil absorb moisture better. And so the life in the soil is critical to the health of the plant, any plant, including your lawn. And what we also do with this is, in order to prevent disease, we add a little bit of cornmeal to it. Cornmeal feeds a beneficial organism that lives in the soil or in the compost. And this is very important when you're trying to fight disease out there. And some warm, moist springs and moisture in the summertime can sometimes lead to these diseases. Some of the traditional things for just trying to stop it quickly are potassium bicarbonate. This is an actual fungicide. This is a new product on the market called Serenade. This one only works on the brown patch and not the take-all. But this is a real good product if you identify brown patch out there. Usually the lawn is dying, but the runners are still green, but the leaves have died on it. This is a product that I really think is great. It uses a preventative technique. This is actinovate, and this is an agricultural streptomyces that will colonize the root system, giving it protection from the invading disease. The disease may still be there, but it can't get into the plant. But it's only good when you use it ahead of the problem. Now, keeping the soil alive, if you can't afford a bunch of compost, at least use one of the aerobic compost teas that are now available. Aerobic compost tea brings in the beneficial organisms that are in the compost, and it's a really good thing on all of the plants. Black spot on roses, diseases out on the lawns. This is another good way to keep the soil healthy out there. Now, the Extension Service is recommending peat moss. They did some research up in the Dallas area using some different things out there, including the chemical fungicides. And that they found was that a little bit of compost certainly does a good job out there, but by reducing the pH of the soil with peat moss, this seems to be a real advantage at suppressing specifically the take-all. By having that lower pH around the roots of the plants and right around the rhizomes in there, it seems to really suppress the take-all rather dramatically. So when you're using peat moss out there, it would be something like 1 pound, 1 cubic foot bag would cover about 263 square feet. And the 3.8 bag usually is the most common one that's available out there. And that particular one covers 1,000 square feet. I think it's an economical way to try to prevent it. We do whatever we can to prevent these things because replacing the lawn is really expensive. So some good soil building practices and some prevention techniques are the key to controlling diseases in the lawn. Make sure your mower's clean too. Don't let someone else come into the yard and inoculate. And also your tools need to be clean. Your gloves also, and your shoes. All of these things are components of preventing diseases in the garden. For Backyard Basics, I'm John Dromgoole. I'll see you next time.